distinguished guests, dignitaries, Honorable Prime Minister. It's a true honor and privilege to be here today and to say a few words in relation to the project, to the initiative that we're about to embark on and sign the agreement that will allow us to put things in motion. This is a very special day for us today, and I'm sure you heard this said many times previously, but let me try to give you a little bit of our own perspective to explain why we think it is such a special day. It is easy for me to say it very fast. We are going to build 500,000 homes, 500,000 homes, and the gross development value of this project, when the houses are sold to people, will probably come close to $25 billion. It's very easy to say that, but when you think what's actually behind this, it is one of the most ambitious undertakings ever. You cannot think of any projects, whether in Pakistan or anywhere else in the world, in the sector of housing, where three parties, through some kind of a public-private partnership, would agree to invest up to $25 billion in just one single program. It's truly groundbreaking. I cannot emphasize that enough. Now, when you think about that, how did we reach this stage? How did we come here? The first thing comes to mind is, I don't know if you heard this, it's a very old, not anecdote, but more of a saying. When you drive in the countryside and you suddenly see a big frog on top of a goalpost, you know it's not by coincidence. Somebody must have placed that frog there. It's the same with our project. It didn't happen by coincidence at all. There were so many individuals and entities working on this, tirelessly working with a lot of passion and a lot of skill. And of course, I will not be able to do justice to them all, but I would like to mention a few by name, if you allow me. I would like to say special thanks to Dr. Imran Zaib, who has incredible commitment to this initiative and unbelievable knowledge of all the areas. I mean, you just heard him a few minutes ago. Very few people in that role would be able to speak with the same degree of eloquence. It's also Honorable Federal Minister Tariq Bashir, who's been very helpful throughout this, and many other colleagues from the Housing Authority. I would also like to thank Neil Boone, somebody that we know each other for, as I mentioned some minutes ago, for more than a quarter century. They are doing tremendous work here in Pakistan, and we have a lot to learn from them. There are also many other individuals that unfortunately I will not be able to mention by name, but colleagues such as Kamaran Zamar and Bakar Shah that have been this very important glue that brought everybody together and made this possible. Now that we go to the next stage, I would like to share with you a few commitments that we are ready to make today. And Dr. Zaib already explained to you how this initiative at the high level is going to work. But I think if I'm to summarize, one of the most important salient features of this initiative is that having learned lessons around the world, because you know we're implementing similar projects in Ghana, Kenya, India, Caribbean islands, and many other places. What we learned so well that for the housing initiative at this scale to be successful, you have to work on the whole supply chain, and that means starting, if I can say so, on the left with construction. The construction has to be of the highest quality, and this is why we are bringing our tried and tested partners from Sustainable Housing Solutions, who own proprietary technology that by many is considered to be the best in the world in that particular sector. So we build with high quality, and we do everything possible to reduce the cost, so that the houses that eventually will be sold to the citizens of Pakistan are truly affordable. We do not sell them at the same price around the world. We know exactly what the right price point is here, how much people may be able to pay for 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedroom, and what kind of house dwelling would be appealing to them. So if we look at the design that we have in Ghana and Kenya, you can think both countries are in Africa, so probably the design should be about the same, but they're actually vastly different because there are cultural traditions and patterns. People in Kenya and Ghana would probably not like the same house. They would like different color scheme and many other features. And obviously we're going to pay a lot of attention to this in Pakistan so that people like what they're getting, because very many of them will become homeowners for the very first time in their life, and even going back generations, they will be first-time owners. So that's on the construction side, and we're also thinking of mortgage finance, because that is one of the biggest shortfalls, shortcomings in many other deals around the world. When that is not taken care of, you may end up with housing communities that we saw in so many places around the world, thousands of homes built. They are never bought by anybody because people don't like them, how they look, or the price point is not correct and it's just too expensive, people cannot afford it. So that mortgage solution, mortgage finance that we are working on will allow people to buy those places, because they don't need to pay the entire amount in cash upfront, but the mortgage will allow them to pay small amounts over 15 to 30 years. And that makes those homes affordable to pretty much everybody in this country. So we realize it's one of the most populous countries in the world, with more than 200 million people living there and fast growing. So yes, we talked about 10 million, 12 million of homes, which is the current estimate of the shortfall. And of course, we cannot commit to building that many, but we're making a smaller commitment to 500,000 homes. But we see that just as a starting point, because if all the conditions are right, over the next decade, we think we should be able to build a lot more than that. And we are ready to work with the government and with His Excellency Prime Minister to make that happen. The next commitment is everything that we're going to build in this country will be built with local labor. So as a matter of principle, we're not bringing any workers from outside the country. And those workers that we're going to employ here, they don't need to be skilled today. We're going to train them at our expense, and virtually anybody who is willing to work, let's say 8 hours a day, we're going to train them, we're going to give them jobs, and we're going to make sure that they get living wages, so they not only can bring bread back home, but they can also be part of this program that we're talking about, and they can invest in their own home and maybe start owning it within a few years, and then fully own it without any debt to banking institutions within 15 years from now. Another very important point is we always build manufacturing facilities here. So we're not going to bring panels, cement, or anything else from other countries. In theory, we could probably do it slightly cheaper that way, but there will be environmental impact, and we're not going to do anything that will harm environment here. And by building local manufacturing facilities here, we're actually going to transfer knowledge, the very important know-how that SHS has today, jointly with UNOPS, that will stay in the country. So we'll do the job, at some point we'll leave, and then Pakistani government, authorities and people will be able to continue, so they can build millions and tens of millions of homes as necessary. I can keep on and on with that, but I think you're already getting my drift. It's going to be something very, very special. It's right at the forefront of the national priorities here, the way we understand them, national initiative on housing. It's also very much in line with the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. I can easily recite 3 or 4 of them. What we're going to do is exactly in direct correlation with what we're trying to achieve on that front. But now is the time to implement what we agreed to do, and to live up to those commitments that we're making today. And our track record is such that we will spare no effort to get things done. And if we're making this commitment today, we are going to build those homes, and you will be very proud to see them. The only thing is we all have to be slightly patient, because this is not something that will start tomorrow or the following Monday. Just building those local manufacturing facilities here that I mentioned, it's 4 to 6 months. It would be faster if we were to bring those materials from abroad, but we're not going to do that. We are going to make this very important investment, and then later on we will be saving a lot of valuable time for everybody. And now that I understand No Lions is not going to say very much today, and because we are already in these long-term partnerships, I just thought to myself, I'll say something on his behalf, because he comes from Ireland. I don't know if you heard this saying, but as far as I know, it's Irish, and it goes like this. may we have the hindsight to know where we came from, and the foresight to know where we're going, and the insight not to get lost on the way. So good luck to all of us. Thank you.